The thing is, Core is in session. Listen, we need to talk about Zenith, the Last City. So this game first needs to take the stand, and the $30 Tribe VR game is charged with 3 counts: immersive gameplay, 5 counts of broken mechanics, and 2 counts of unwanted company. So I bring into evidence the first combat of Zenith, the Last City, and I must admit, Alex, I like it. And one huge reason I like it is because of the room scale. They nailed it with the PSVR2. This game allowed me to use this feature, the room scale, more than any other game in the PSVR2 library so far. So I was able to be in my living room and I actually jumped around and dodged and swiped, swung my sword. I was fully immersed. And it was really awesome. The combat was so fun. Now, of course, you don't need to play this way. You can use the analog sticks and kind of stay in one spot, but man, I'm telling you, the immersive experience, it takes more effort. You may be a little less accurate and a little less good at the game because you're actually physically moving, but it takes it to a whole other level, man. So the game also uses the head rumble more than any other game, believe it or not. I could actually feel the head rumble when you're getting hit or when you're running away from danger. And during the game, it was really cool that you can glide. I know both of us played this, Alex, and we were both gliding all over the place. And this was something really neat that I actually felt and a couple of the quests, you have to get really high up into the sky. And when up there, I had like a visceral response because I hate heights. And my body was like, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. And I had to do it. The quest required me to do it. So anyhow, you go full spread eagle and open your arms wide and you just take the dive and you glide. It's really fun. And another example of a really cool way that they created an immersive experience. So I need more sword combat games. That's what this game taught me because it was so fun. I'm really love the combat. Great job by the developers. And when played properly, I think I don't know anyone who wouldn't have a great time playing this combat wise. So, I mean, on combat, I gotta, on the 3 counts of immersive gameplay, I gotta find you Zenith Lost City. Guilty. That is it. Alex, do you have a question for me? You've also played this game, so you kind of know what I'm already talking about.
Yeah, so you're the character class that does melee, so you're swinging swords and stuff like that. I played the magician, so you're casting or spellcaster, whatever it is, and you're doing range stuff. So you're casting spells in your hands, throwing like ice balls, summoning like ice shards to fall out of the sky. All that stuff worked really well. It's gesture based, but it actually felt pretty good. Although I did it accidentally a couple times. Your primary weapon when you're that class is like these wrist based laser blasters, which worked really well. They were really fun. And when you're appropriately leveled, it felt really good to walk through an environment and just be blasting guys away with it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good. In terms of like room scale, I wasn't really about that life, but the gliding did feel really good. My question for you, Adam, there's zip lines in the game. Given your experience with Res, where you had the sex chair that you built, have you thought about maybe putting like a handle in your room somewhere so when you do a zip line, you actually have to grab it and then lift your legs up so that you're hanging in the air with your legs when you do a zip line? Is that going to be your next invention?
I don't think so, especially since some of these zip lines you went against gravity and you were moving up instead of down. But yeah, I don't think so. Tempting, not worth it. Not enough of games have them, and it was a little jank anyhow. Like the tracking wasn't perfect. Your hand was like on the side and it glitched out as you took the handrail. I don't know. But again, I think everything like you mentioned, being the magician is kind of cool. Gunning is probably easier than being a blade
For
master,
sure.
which is probably why you chose it. But I'm telling you what, dude, it was real fun. But we have, unfortunately, on the counts of broken mechanics. And this is where things start to take a turn for the defendant. Multiple times, close to double digit times, the game has crashed on me. Sometimes my game saved, sometimes it didn't. One time I was playing and I noticed that there's just no more enemies. And I was like, okay, so I just kept doing what I was doing, trying to complete quests. It was all right. I mean, it made it really easy. But then when you got to the point where you completed the quest, or you found the person you needed to talk to, or you found the object you needed to capture to complete the quest, it didn't exist. And then it was just so annoying. I mean, it was all lost time, and you don't know when it's going to happen, right? Then I kind of knew something was going to be a little funky, but I didn't know. After closing and reopening the game, sometimes enemies reappear or don't appear at all. I was completing quests, just like I said, when I was intended to and or attempted to, and it you just couldn't complete them. It wouldn't let you. And then, of course, I found times where I tried to complete a task and then the game just straight up glitched and it crashed, or I literally saw graphics like glitching and then I wasn't able to complete it. And the issue is that not only at that one time, now I wasted my time and it's an annoyance playing the game, but constantly playing the game, I was worried, is it going to glitch and all my progress is lost? That is a horrible feeling when you're playing a game, always being on edge, waiting for it to crash. And worse yet, it often did. So it's not like I thought it was going to crash and I was being nuts. It really has a lot of buggy issues. And that I think is really difficult, especially when it's a multiplayer game. Alex, you and I tried to figure out how to join a party. We couldn't do it. I tried to join party with other headsets, other people, couldn't do it. Just there were connectivity issues and there were bug glitches and it just didn't make sense. And when that is the basis of your game, that is a huge problem. And so because of that, on the counts of broken mechanics, I'm sorry, Zenith Lost City, I find you guilty. Alex, you saw some of the glitches. We saw them live together. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be. I don't know. I try to be generous with these kind of games, right? It's trying to do something big as like an MMO, right? And they're not Blizzard, so we can't expect surefire things to work like that. But like you, it is frustrating when the core of the game is partying up, and either we just can't figure out how to do it, so they need to better educate us on how to do that, or it just flat out doesn't work. Which for all our trying, it seems like it just flat out didn't work. I can't play with people. I can't play with the people I want to play with. I couldn't play with people that I ran into. And that really sucks because although the gameplay is kind of fun and interesting, really these games have like, you know, B level gameplay, but it's fun and it's elevated to A or S level gameplay because you're playing with your friends, you're doing this stuff, hacking and slashing and looting and stuff with your friends. If you can't do it with your friends, you're not going to do it by yourself because it's not going to be fun.
Yeah. And also, kind of to clarify that Alex and I could be in the same world and see each other be in a PlayStation party, talk to each other, and play that way. But for example, some of the quests require you to be in a party to raid a dungeon. But when you can't party with people, you can't do the quest. So, yeah, really, it's a very big issue. Honestly, probably the biggest one, if I'm being honest. But that brings us to our final charge, and this is of unwanted company. Now, I have to admit right off the bat, it's not a developer problem. It's not necessarily a game problem, but when I judge whether a game is worthy of you purchasing the game and my enjoyment of it, it has to be a factor. I would say a whopping, and I'm serious, 90% of the people I met on this game were children. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't hate kids. I don't got problem with you people, but I don't want to play games with them. And no, Alex, it's not because I have to sign waivers or constantly tell them that, hey, I'm not allowed within so many feet of you. It's because they're kids. They make me feel weird. Most of the time, they're annoying. And I would say you could just ignore them. But with this being an MMO, like we're saying, with quests, with game engagement, and the objectives that require you to form a party, it's very difficult to ignore them. Also, you can hear them when they're walking around and screaming about someone's dog or how their mom actually made them do their homework and algebra sucks. I mean, it's awful. So it's really not a game that you can play very much by yourself. And I feel bad about holding that against the game, but it truly did make me enjoy the game less. I tried to find times even where I could join when I didn't think as many kids would join, like really late at night, or hoping times when they're in school and there's less people, but maybe they would be adults. It's just it's a child fest. And there needs to be like an adult server if that's something that could happen. Probably not, but I know this is a territory that it just comes up with MMOs for better or worse. But for me personally, it's a major drawback. I think for many adult gamers, which is, I would assume, the majority of the PSVR2 community, it probably is a drawback as well. So, on the final charge of unwanted company, I have to find you, Zenith, the last city, guilty.
Yeah, it. I had similar issues, right? I mean, part of the issue is like I can hear everybody, and I'm sure you can turn it off, but the interface was kind of difficult to navigate, so I didn't dive into that too much because I was too busy trying to figure out how to join a party with you. um, it, my a quick anecdote of what happened to me when I was trying to navigate the menu for the first time when I was playing the game, figure out how this stuff works. I can turn people off, I can go to another server, or just figure out where my next quest is. I had a guy run up to me and say, "Hey, can you kill this kid? Hey, can you kill this kid?" I say guy. It was a kid came up to say, "Hey, can you kill that kid over there? He's annoying me." And he wouldn't leave me alone. I was in a menu. I couldn't do anything to like interact with him. I didn't want to talk to him. He just kept bothering me. And then the kid that was bothering him came up and started talking to me and him as if they thought I was their best friend suddenly. And I ultimately had to say, "No, I'm not. I'm busy doing something right now." And then the kid ran up. I had a female character. The kid ran up with a sword and said, "Hey, I'm gonna stick this sword in that girl's nutsack," which I just thought was hilarious. I just said, "You're gonna stick a sword in this girl's nutsack." And I said, "Yeah, watch this. I'm gonna stick the sword in her nutsack." And I just thought that was emblematic of the issue. This is like my first time playing the game, and that's what happens to me. And that's why you probably don't want to play with kids because they don't quite get it. And the first kid tried to relate to me. He's like, "Yeah, our generation's really messed up. I mean, I'm part of that generation. They're really messed up." I was like, "Dude, I don't want anybody. I don't want any of you. I want nobody here. I'd rather have a single player game, honestly." I think maybe to fix that they'd have to like age gate it, but I'll digress. Go ahead, Adam, with your final verdict.
Yeah. So Zenith LSC does do many things very well, including, like I said, I love the combat. It's so fun. It's so immersive. However, the noticeable and frequent broken mechanics, the necessary community involvement that you have all these children, I just can't fully endorse the game as a buy. And for some, this would certainly be worth the investment as the entertainment value for heck, the price is off the charts. For this price, you're going to get dozens of hours of gameplay, I would say. But will you enjoy that gameplay is based on you, the person, the gamer. But for the general public, I would honestly say they probably wouldn't. And because of that, the sentence of being a PSVR2 must play, I find you, Zenith, the last city, not guilty.